Welcome back to another video on Because of Dragons. Last time around we looked at this, MÖRK BORG, or MÖRK BORG, which is the Stockholm Cartel and Occult Orkmaster Games production, which is a dark fantasy role-playing game. And I promised that we would be back to talk a little bit about all the expansion content that has come out for it. Before we dive into the actual printed material, it should be noted that all of the stuff that you see within these books, or at least the vast majority of it, is actually available digitally over on the MÖRK BORG website. I'll put a link down below showing where that is for, well, in most cases, free. So if you're interested in trying out a bunch of this stuff before buying the printed material, then you can definitely go ahead and do that. Basically, we've got a couple of expansion products to go through. I was thinking of doing these all separately, but I also thought that it would probably be a good idea to put it all into one video, so that if somebody wants to see the existing array of sort of review material, not review material, but the existing set of material and expansions and things for MÖRK BORG, that they could just basically watch this video in retrospect. So we'll start with Feretory, which again has the same sort of zine format as we've seen in the past, which is pretty cool. Kind of classic magazine style, which is nice. And again, the artwork is fantastic. We're just going to do a quick flick through of all of these. So one of the nice things is you've got the contents at the start there. We've got a new set of tables for applying results to monsters and making quick monsters on the fly, which is pretty nice. So you've got nice things like the terrible traits and the way that it approaches you as well, which is quite cool. Then there is a big section on travel through the Dying Lands. So one of the nice things about this is that it kind of adds a little bit more depth to the geography of MÖRK BORG, and sort of allows you to dive into some interesting ideas when it comes to sort of building on that, and kind of giving a living, breathing feel to your world, even though everything's dying. Ha ha ha. As well as that, we also have, here we go. So we've got a section of bestiary and hunting rules, which is pretty cool. Everything that's got this nice seal of approval on it, which means that MÖRK BORG, the guys at MÖRK BORG, have approved it. So this is a really cool set of rules for hunting different creatures. It gives you options for how to use them in combat, but it also gives you rules for how to then harvest them and take their bits back to sell them, which is pretty cool. So there's some really nice things there, which is quite good. So it's a nice way to go out, sort of put together interesting wilderness encounters, perhaps if you're doing a little bit of travelling throughout the world of MÖRK BORG. You also have this map-based campaign. So this is a map-based option for your adventures. So you can put together a really cool adventure trying to get to the ziggurat, starting off in those locations at the south and then working your way north, which is pretty cool. So it's a little one for those old school players out there, which is quite good, which is kind of what they're doing with this. So you've got rules for how to use that in your games, and that comes as well, and the monsters and NPCs that you'll meet along the way. There's a new table of items and trinkets, so if you wanted to add some additional stuff to your games of MÖRK BORG when you start out, and you've got that. Or just a way to enhance the robbing element of your games. Which is quite cool. You also got this adventure here, which is called the Goblin Grinder, if you can make sure you can read it. This is a really fun one. I think I'm going to use this one as the second adventure my party does. It's got a really cool feel to it, and I like the little simple dungeon setup for this one. Should be a nice race against time. And again, it's laid out in a really good way, so that you've got all of the information you need for setting up the campaign and running it as a GM, which is good. You've then got the reliquary as well. So if you want a selection of cool items to give to your team, then that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. These are slightly more like legendary items, I guess you'd say. So these are the kind of things you'd give at the end of a worthy campaign story beat or something, I think. Or maybe you just give it to them straight away and make them slightly more heroic right out of the gate. I really like the Chaos Blade. I think that's really awesome. It's all, again, very sort of old school dark fantasy, which is cool. And I like you've got illustrations for everything as well. It sort of helps add to the feel of everything, and means that you can, when you're putting together this this set of items for players, they have something to draw on. That's for inspiration. You also got this, which is a set of rules for innkeepers and sort of how that all comes together, which is quite cool. You've got a tavern game you can play, names for the other patrons and gamblers, and then a couple of new classes. So you've got the Cursed Skinwalker there, which is a shape-changing class. So if you want to be like a werewolf or something, you've got that. And the Pale one, which is a little bit of an alien, very Cthulhu-esque, very cool. So you've got two different options there for player characters. I think a lot of people will be really interested in the Skinwalker, and I know a few people have decided to give the Pale one a go. They each have their own abilities and stuff as well that make them stand out from everyone else. So if you didn't like the ones in the core book, you've got some new options there as well. There's also the Dead God's Prophet, which again sort of takes things in that twisted, evil, priestly direction. The Forlorn Philosopher. And then a new set of the Tablets of Obscurity to play around with as well, which is quite nice. So if you find these and use these in your games, you've got some really awesome effects that can sort of add to your gameplay. And there's a really cool little piece of artwork at the end as well. There we go. And on the back, there is a set of rules for sailing around on the Black Salt, which is the ocean that surrounds the world that you're in MÖRK BORG, which is pretty cool. Moving on from that, you'll have to forgive me. I'm a bit bunged up at the moment. But so we also have Heretic, which is one of the newer ones that's come out. Again, got a nice little set of rules there for building up a cult, which is quite nice. So if you wanted to hunt down a cult, or if you wanted to just join a cult, you've got that. You've got feats too. So these feats are, instead of upgrading your stats, you can take a feat. So that adds more colour to your characters, which is quite nice. You've got a new bard class, the Sacrilegious Songbird, which is quite cool. I know a lot of people like bards, so playing around with a sort of dark fantasy bard, a grim dark bard, is probably a cool idea. The Shedding Vicar, which is, again, just awful. A flaying class. Lovely. Who would have thought it? Oh, look, there's even a rule for Blood Eagle. Very nice. You've got a new set of adventures and things. So you've got this graveyard adventure to dive into. Graves Left Wanting. And rules for using the graveyard, which is quite nice. So this kind of expands on everything and sort of gives you new ways to take things. You've got another dungeon here for the Bloat. So again, another twisted and nasty adventure for you to dive into. Numbered, as you can see there, to give you some interesting ideas. Rules for curses and all that lovely stuff, which is quite nice. So if you wanted to throw some curveballs at your players, you've got that to contend to. A new mysterious merchant that you could meet on the road. It sells you odd trinkets. So, based in different regions of the world. So in Kyrgyz, he has these to offer. In Grift, he has these to offer, which I think is kind of nice. Very sort of Resident Evil, I thought. You've got rules for black powder weapons. So if you want to throw those into your game to get a little bit more Warhammer fantasy. There's another scenario here. Sepulchre of the Swamp Witch. So you've got plenty of different things that you can use with your team of adventurers. If you don't want to actually do any planning yourself, you have all of these. Just lead them from one adventure to the next. And have fun with that one. Oh, look at that sword. Man, that is definitely an Elden Rings boss. So yeah, nice stuff there as well. A new monster, which is just insane. The Bone Bower. Or the Bone Bowyer. Very Very cool. Nice little thing you can throw into the mix. Maybe some people have been going missing and you have to try and hunt down the bone bower and kill it. Lovely stuff. Oh, God. Twice each round for D6 damage with a defense of DR14. Nasty. Oh, dear. You've got another one as well there. So if you wanted to dive into the more creepy stuff that lives in the swamps, you've got that option. The Rotten Nurse, which is another dungeon for you to play. Again, laying things out in a really awesome style. And then some stuff on the back that makes you lose your mind, which is always nice. We also have this that came out recently. So this is the DM screen. So it comes with everything that you need for playing your games, to give you hints and tips along the way. The other thing that's really nice about this is that it's thick, so it's not flimsy. It's definitely got a good thickness to it. And on the other side, you have this amazing artwork, once again, which I think is fantastic. And certainly sets the scene for where you are when it comes to MÖRK BORG. So yeah, nice little thing there. It's a DM screen. Everybody likes those. In addition to that, we also have a whole bunch of things that sort of came in alongside a couple of the expansions packs. So you've got a pamphlet on traps, which is nice, and rules on going to find somewhere to drink, which is quite cool. So you use this alongside your DM screen. You've got the tablets of ochre obscurity, so you've got some more tablets to find and use. So you either have to have a good presence or be a forlorn philosopher. And also a bunch of city events. So it's a D40, I guess. Yeah, D40. So D4 plus a D10. And then something will happen when you're on the way. So a good way to spice things up. You also have this. So Dark Fort was the sort of microgame that then became MÖRK BORG, or the Dark Fort, hence the name. So it comes with a set of character sheets, making your own adventurer, and then you get the actual Dark Fort pamphlet itself, which is a very simple set of rules for moving from room to room. You kind of just have some maths paper nearby just to jot out the rooms and stuff, which I think is really nice. And it's a really cool one where you basically just see how long you can survive. And as long as you survive 12 rooms, you get to level up or collect a bunch of silver. Then you also get to level up, which is kind of cool. So you can keep dungeon delving by yourself if you want to and get that really awesome OSR feel to your tabletop adventures. I might actually give this a go on camera. I think that could be really cool if I can find a way to set it up. I think that could be really fun. So that's a really nice sort of additional thing there that I didn't think they need to include, but I think it's really fun. And then you also have this poster map adventure. So it's like the obituary dungeon, as they've called it. So it's like something from like a video game, which I think is really nice. So it gives you an idea of how the adventure plays out for this poor soul. And you could almost give it a go yourself as well, because it comes with neat little rules for the unslain custodians and the necronel that lives at the bottom of it, which is quite cool. So, and there you go, there's a little kind of mana layout so you can follow how it goes. And you've got more rules for creatures there too. So it's more of an illustrative version of a dungeon, which I think is a nice way to go. So yeah, that is all of the expansion content that is available currently for MÖRK BORG. As you can see, they have been working on this for quite a while and doing a lot of content for it. I explained the mechanics in the first video covering the core rules and stuff, so if you're interested in that, make sure to go and check out that video. I genuinely think this is possibly one of the coolest role-playing games that I have seen in recent years. I think it's fun to see it done in this zine format. The artwork and the sort of world design and stuff really draws you into it, and sets the scene perfectly. And I think it should be part of a lot of people's collections, especially if you like kind of old school role-playing games where it's more player focused and challenging. I think this is a fun set of rules to do that with, and I think the dark humor, the black comedy of it all, kind of feeds nicely into it being a fun and interesting adventure to play out on the tabletop. I cannot wait to dive deeper into all of this and give it a proper go. I even have set aside some fun Swedish accoutrement to use when playing the game, just to kind of get into the feel of it, you know, made in Stockholm, of course, so nice there. And yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in MÖRK BORG and these expansions, make sure to give this a look. I think this is all very fun. If you've got some favourite bits of this that you think I should maybe take a closer look at, or if you think that it'd be really fun to do like a sort of run through of that solo adventure, then let me know in the comments down below. But until then, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and comment down below if you like what I did. I also have a Ko-fi page, so if you found this video informative, despite my bunged up nature, alas, that is what it's like living in Britain, then yeah, it'll be fun to get a cup of tea so I can warm my bones, warm my cockles. So yeah, very nice. Yeah, some really cool stuff there. I need to have a close look at all of these, read them through properly, but as a first impressions, I am very, very impressed. Yeah, I'll be back in another video very, very soon. I think I'm going to do a little bit more sort of model-based content, possibly around MÖRK BORG. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.